Hey, welcome back. Hope everybody is having a great Tuesday. And thank you so much for joining me talking all things Masters of the Universe. Today on the channel, guys, we're going to be reviewing and fully unboxing the CGI version of Battle Cat. But first, we're going to take a real quick look at the figure in the packaging, all right? We'll also do some comparisons of this version of Battle Cat here with my other variants of Battle Cat from Origins. Right there. To Masterverse. And, of course, the vintage version of Battle Cat here. Alright. Now, of course, if you are new to my channel or first time watching, I hope you'll subscribe afterwards. I hope you'll hit that like button. And thank you so much for doing that. Hit that notification bell when you know I upload new videos. And please share this video. Who has a passion and a love for collecting all things Masters of the Universe. Without further ado, let's take a look at this version of Battle Cat here. And this is one of those Battle Cats, but I've been waiting for to unbox. I've been looking, waiting patiently for a good price. And I got my second version of Battle Cat here, right here, through Big Bad Toy Store here, at a good price. All right, and it's one of those figures that I think is really cool. I think out of all the line of figures that it came out in the CGI line, I think Battle Cat, to me, is probably my favorite. Just by the overall look of him. And as you know, if you don't know or do know, this is a very different take on Battle Cat here. All right. As you know, in the past, I'm sure, Battle Cat is Cringer, but this version, he does not transform by the help of He-Man in a way. Okay. As you know, He-Man uses the power sword to, of course, blast Cringer to, create Battle Cat. As we know, this version of Battle Cat is already the size, what we see here. He's not Cringer. He's already Battle Cat. Or just, he's Cringer, but he has no claws, and I think very few teeth, I believe, all right? But in this version, in this universe, all right, this multiverse, he calls, Cringer calls down the power of Grayskull himself to transform into Battle Cat, all right? And of course, like I said, he was born with no claws at all right? That makes him the name Cringer, all right? Because he has no way to defend himself, all right? But this version of Battle Cat, as you can see, these yellow, claws here are supposed to be the power of Grayskull, all right? But I love the look here. I absolutely love the look of this version of Battle Cat here. All right, now you can see right here, a nice thing about this Battle Cat here is for the first time, in packaging, we have a Battle Cat that is not fully engulfed in a plastic bubble. You can actually, interact with this version of Battle Cat here. All right, and I love it. I love the style. I love the look. It's got this almost like 2000X futuristic vibe to it. All right, it's got, of course, a tack feature. All right. He looks great. I love the armor, which I believe cannot be removed. But once we get him out of packaging, we'll try that, okay? I don't think the armor can be removed from this Battle Cat here, all right? But he's got a very sleek, very futuristic vibe to him, all right? Very cool here, all right? Of course, once again, here's the packaging. And like I said, one of those, rare times where a Battle Cat is not engulfed in a full plastic bubble. You can actually, like I said, interact with this version of Battle Cat here. With the head movement, the mouth is articulated right there. Alright, but you can see the images of Grayskull here from the 2000X line. From the CGI line. My apologies. Alright, you got Battle Cat here, He-Man, and Master of the Universe. Battle Cat, he's got that power attack feature, or the spring-loaded claw attack, right there. Flip around the back. And there he is, right, with He-Man right there. Alright, pretty cool. Alright, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get him unboxed. Oops, sorry for the shaky cam, guys. Where's my scissors at here? So the one thing you'll notice with my other versions of Battle Cat here, I'm going to put one right here, is I love having Battle Cat along with my Battle Armored He-Man for some reason. I think they go perfectly. And this is probably one of my favorite versions of Battle Cat here. That's the Battlefield Warriors Target exclusive 2-pack of with Battle Cat and He-Man. And what I love about this version of Battle Cat here is the damage with the blood, with the cuts right here, like they've been in war, and that's something very unique. Even He-Man is showing some damage right here. All right, so let me get this out of the way here, guys. Hang on. A lot of one. And what else we got? And two. There you go. And this. And what else is next? Right there. That. Scissor. That's what else we got here. Alright, I think I missed one. That's alright. Alright. Wow. And there we go, guys. There's a first look of Battle Cat here. Get him out of the way really fast. Do some comparisons in size and stuff like that. Alright. You see the mouth is fully articulated. Alright. Now the one thing I'm curious about is the armor removable? Right? And it looks like no. The armor is not removable, unfortunately. At least the helmet, okay? Now, the one thing I have noticed, with Battle Cat here, the one thing he stands out is his yellow stripes. And with this version of Battle Cat here, you can see very little stripes here, only on his shoulders here. Kind of a shame, though. They should have put in some more yellow stripes on his stomach right here, along the path right here. Even on his tail would have been cool. All right. Let's try this. He's got that. He's got that, trying to get that in, so the way, he does have that, sorry guys, that kind of that, spring-loaded, power attack feature right there. The claws are very, it's plastic, all right, they can be removed, all right, they're not sharp at all, right there. Now, let's try putting He-Man on here, too. I'm kind of curious how that's supposed to work here. Okay. Well, maybe not. Hang on. I'm trying to figure out, because there's this little groove right here on the armor here. I'm trying to look at the back of the packaging here, guys. It doesn't show you. So I'm assuming that maybe his, like this. All right, there you go. But I love it. I think that's really cool. You can do a little turn right here. I think that's really cool. I love this version of Battle Cat. It's not too big. I mean, it's just about the same size as a Origins figure. Definitely not big as the Masters version. That's for sure. Let's see. It was the same size in a way of the vintage version, which is kind of the same as Origins. Fully articulated. That's here. Even the back claws here are pretty cool here. Yeah, the one thing I'm not a fan of is the fact how you're supposed to keep He-Man on there. Yes, he's falling off. So I'm not sure what the purpose is of these two grooves here. I assume that something about He-Man will allow you to snap him on there. But he looks fine, and when he's standing on there or sitting on Battle Cat. Let's take a look at all the articulation here. All right, now the head does swivel around. Okay, there's movement on the head, up and down, somewhat up and down. Very little move, very little movement when it comes to looking up and down. Now side to side, yes. Okay, the armor looks pretty cool. Cannot be removed, unfortunately. All right, we already discussed about the stripes here. Very limited on the stripes here. All right, which I think is a major downgrade here. I don't like that. I wish they had more stripes to Battle Cat here. That's one of his main features of every version of Battle Cat throughout the years, is his stripes here. So the fact that they did not put him up with a lot of stripes with this version of Battle Cat, I think is a major downgrade here. Now, the mouth, as you saw, is articulated. All right, I love the eyes. I love the mask. I love these black, almost eyebrows type of thing. They give him a very gruesome, very mean, aggressive look to this version of Battle Cat here. As you know, like I said in the cartoon, he's the same size, and he calls down the power of Grayskull. and he gets picked on because he has no teeth. He's got teeth, but very, very small. Very, very, and I can look at my teeth right here. Very limited on his teeth, not sharp, and no claws. All right. The back in here, there's movement right here, and the claws right here. A little sharp here, not too bad. Now the movement on the back legs here. All right, there's movement right here. And of course, we have the tail. A very flexible, pliable tail. It does move around, as you can see. Now let's compare this version of Battle Cat to their origins. I'm going to get the turntable out of the way real fast. See the size differences between these two. And a very, very low, very low to the ground version of Battle Cat, as you can see. Look at this. Look at the size differences between both versions here. From the Origins variant, it's standing up more upright and tall. This one is more like squatting down, like it's about to like leap and jump at, you know, a Skeletor or some evil warrior, right? Even the vintage version of Battle Cat is slightly, well, you can see they're just about the same size and about, but the head sculpts, you can see the head has more down, like he's about to jump and attack his, you know, an evil warrior. And definitely you can see the size difference between the Masters version compared to the CGI variant here. Very interesting, very interesting. And you can never tell until you have this unboxed how small in hand this version of Battle Cat is. Very interesting. Oops. All right, once again, but a cool variant, you know. Now the attack feature is interesting because when you try to use the attack feature with this Battle Cat, the claw is so wide. This, you know, these yellow like Grayskull type claws are hitting the mask. See that? So you can't get the full range of him like using the claw for the attack feature. Even when you pull it back, it's very limited, unfortunately. So you get very little movement here. Now the look is great. I love the look, but you know, except for the stripes, of course. But the power attack feature is very limited. Go ahead and put He-Man back on there. See if I can get him to stand properly on there. If anybody can tell me if you do have this version of Battle Cat in your collection, I'm trying to put like his He-Man's cloth right here in these grooves right here. I assume that's what they're supposed to do. Give you that extra, like, you know, security, you know, or I don't know. He-Man power switch came out, but it's okay. But a very low ground, very, like, you can't even keep his head up. Interesting. So let me know in the comments below, guys. What do you think about this? Like I said, very interesting. The fact that, you know, when you get them out of the packaging, you don't realize how low to the ground this version of Battle Cat is compared to like the Origins variant, and even for the most part his regular or his vintage version of Battle Cat here. Now before I want to make sure that and you can't like bring the legs up, you know, stand them up more, like, you know, get them more upright. Interesting. But there you go, guys. There's a look at the CGI variant of Battle Cat here. I got mixed feelings, as you can tell. Mixed feelings. Now, I love the armor. I love the look. I love that futuristic, you know, tone he's got right here. Very cool. The action call out, like I showed you, is very limited. Unfortunately, I want a full-on attack. Let me get He-Man out of the way. I want, see, you can see the claw barely works. Unless I'm doing something wrong here. I want to see a full range of attack, with this version of Battle Cat here. I'm seeing images. Yeah. I was expecting more of a full-on range attack with the attack feature here. With the spring-loaded attack here. Which is kind of a downside, like a downer here to me. Alright? Now, the armor, like I said, is amazing. I wish, like I told you, about the, the stripes here. More stripes on the body. Alright, unfortunately, no stripes. These, I don't know what these are. These, I don't know, these black, like, thorns right here, which is very interesting. Which, I don't know what the purpose of these are. The function of these are. You make them more gruesome, I guess. Alright, more battle ready, more fierce. Very interesting. I don't know what, like I said, I don't know why they're here. They don't serve any purpose to me. I'm not trying to, I'm not, bad-mouthing this, everybody. This is a cool version of Battle Cat. Don't get me wrong. It's just that, when you get them at, like I said, and I keep repeating myself, and I apologize, because I'm finding more things wrong with this version of Battle Cat than I'm liking, but this is still a great Battle Cat, all right? And, I mean, until we get these out of, it's kind of crazy. Once you get, until we get these figures and, out of our hands to review, it's crazy. Like I said, it's a very cool Battle Cat, but a very low-key, like a low-to-the-ground version of him. And you can't prop the head up. The head has very limited movement. Crazy. That's why we do these reviews, because you never know what to expect when we get these figures in hand. And every time I try to, sit him down, he goes low to the ground. It's so low that my camera can barely show you. Look at that. Look how low he is. How small he is. He's almost as the size of Cringer, in a way. Because how small he is. Wow. Alright, guys. Alright, this is still a great Battle Cat. I'm sorry if I keep repeating myself. Because I'm finding, every time I'm looking at this version, I'm getting more and more, not frustrated, but I'm finding more things wrong, in a way, with this version of Battle Cat. And this is still a cool Battle Cat. One thing I do like is, of course, and I'm going to say it again, sorry, is the armor. I love the armor on this Battle Cat. Wish, also, another, you know what, I'm not gonna say it. I'm trying to be positive here. But, I was about to say about the helmet. I wish the helmet could be removed so you can see. Because the first time we have a Battle Cat that we cannot remove the armor, the head. At least the helmet of Battle Cat here. That's something they should have done. They should have allowing us to take the helmet off on this version of Battle Cat. We can see what's underneath. Because every other version for over the years of Battle Cat, we can do that. Except for this version. Alright. Now, like I said, guys, thank you, all right? I don't mean to badmouth this version of Battle Cat here. I'm happy to have it in my collection. It's cool. It's cool. It's just I'm finding more problems with it that and I don't want to be negative. All right? All right, guys. All right, now, thank you for joining me today, guys, all right? I want to take time, of course, to thank my subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys, all right? Let me know. Let me know in the comments below. I don't want to be negative, but it's still a great Battle Cat. So let me know in the comments below your thoughts about this. I know I'm repeating myself, and I keep repeating that too. So thank you for joining me today, guys. I really appreciate it, guys. This is a Battle Cat, but I've been looking forward to unbox. Don't get me wrong. All right, this is still a cool version. All right, I just wish there was more to it. Alright, and of course, don't forget to hit the... Now, another thing I want to mention to everybody, it's not Battle Cat, it's about... And I was going to show you this on the computer or on the screen, guys. As you know, the new image of He-Man has appeared for the new movie coming out. I was going to do a little talk about, or a little discussion about it, but unfortunately, the images I found were very, very blurry, and it's basically... if you're not aware, it's the actor. I think his name is Nicholas. I can't remember his last name. And it's actually he's like standing up with his back turned to the camera, and you can see the back of him in the shadows. You can barely see him, and you can see the power sword somewhat. So you can't really see him very well. And I was going to do a discussion about that. Interesting. I know for a fact that that Chris Hemsworth, who plays Thor, has been seen with a lot of images being He-Man on the internet, because the new guy Nicholas does not have that. I mean, what I can see, I'm sure he's an amazing actor, and I can't wait to see how he portrays He-Man on this live action movie. But to me, I don't think he has that physique, that look to him. But then again, it's just the back of him, and he's kind of in the shadows until we get a full frontal, reveal of him. I mean, he might have that He-Man type body. All right, that I'm looking for. I don't know. So, we have to wait and see. All right, let you know about that. But he looks. I mean, it might be. I don't know. Sorry, guys, but I was going to talk about that, but of course I couldn't because the image is kind of blurry. Also, don't forget the Barbie, She-Ra pre-order is coming up very soon on Wednesday. All right. Also, Club Grayskull has put out a timer for Shirella for 7 days this week. We got 7 more days before she is ready and available. All right, for pre-order. So don't forget about that as well. Also, in hand tomorrow, guys, I'm hoping to have Lino to do a full unboxing tomorrow. I'm hoping to do a full unboxing of Lino. Yes, you heard it correctly. My first version of Lino, and I will be doing a full unboxing, and we'll talk about that why on the channel. And also, we've hit June. I'm all over the place, everybody. I apologize. We've hit June. We already reached the halfway point of 2025, 6 months in. And starting very soon, I'll be giving you my top 5 favorite figures so far that has been released in 2025, which is Masterverse, Cartoon Collection, Turtles of Grayskull, and so forth. All right, so look for those as well. So I hope you guys have a great Tuesday, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Take care, and have a good one, everybody.